With the wide success of the CR-V, Honda hopes to capture some of that magic in a new, smaller HR-V. Today I'm driving this all-new 2016 model. Let's take a look and see if the company's captured some of that CR-V magic in a smaller package. Now, as the new entry-level SUV in Honda's lineup, the HR-V joins a growing number of vehicles entering the new subcompact SUV segment. Vehicles like the Nissan Juke, the Subaru Crosstrek, the Jeep Renegade, all these vehicles are smaller than other mainstream vehicles like the CR-V, the RAV4, the Rogue by about roughly 10 to 12 inches. Now, the HR-V is based on Honda's excellent fit platform. So if you guys have basically taken a look at a fit, found it to be a bit too small, the HR-V may just be the perfect vehicle for you. Now, you can see the design of the HR-V sports a lot of Honda family resemblance. The front end basically looks like it was taken off of a Fit, just with a slightly bigger grille, the same wraparound headlights. I am a little disappointed to see no LED running lights or no LED or HID headlight option. If you guys look at the Japanese market of this vehicle, it's called the Honda Bezel. They do offer a projector beam halogen with an LED daytime running light. I suspect Honda will be adding a feature like that in the coming years when the company refreshes the vehicle. Now, you can see the HR-V may be the perfect size for those of you who live in an urban environment. The overall length of this vehicle is about 168 inches long, roughly about 6 inches longer than a Fit, but also 10 inches shorter than a Honda CR-V. Now, compared to one of its main competitors that was just introduced for 2016, the CX-3, the HR-V is slightly larger. It's about an inch longer, an inch wider, but it really, you're going to find, is the HR-V sports a lot of interior space. Typical with the excellent fit platform, Honda's been able to show you guys just how good it is at packaging. The HR-V sports the same second row magic seat that the CR-V has, where the seat folds completely flat, where the seat bottom flips up, and it's definitely a huge selling factor for those of you who plan on actually carrying people and stuff in your HR-V. Now, you can see my particular tester is the top-of-the-line EXL with Navi. There are 3 trims you can choose from: LX, EX, and EXL Navi. All of HRVs come standard with these rather attractive-looking 17-inch machine-finished wheels on 215/55 series tires. They do look very nice. It gives the HR-V a pretty nice stance. It looks like a traditional SUV. Actually, if you guys are looking to replace your 10 to 15-year-old CR-V or RAV4, and you find that the current CR-V and RAV4 have gotten too big for your taste, you may actually like a vehicle in this new subcompact segment, as it's about the same size as those original compact crossovers from 10, 15 years ago. Now, looking around the rear of the HR-V, this is where it looks very Acura-like. Actually, it almost looks like a baby version of Acura's RDX. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Acura version of this car come out in the coming years, as these LED taillights come standard, and the overall silhouette has a traditional crossover look, but it's very handsome, if also a little Honda conservative. But for those of you who are in this class, that may be a good thing, as it does look very Honda-like, even though it doesn't really stand out too much from the crowd like a Jeep Renegade would, or a Juke, or a CX-3 would. But overall, I think the design of the HR-V is certainly conservatively handsome. It's probably going to age very well, but for now, let's take a look at the interior and see if it offers the traditional strengths that you expect from a Honda. So checking out the interior of the 2016 HR-V, you can see it's also very traditional Honda. My particular EXL tester comes standard with these nice supportive leather seats. There is no power seat option, as it does remind you of this car's entry-level status within the Honda lineup. You can see it's a very nice looking cabin, certainly very untraditional in a lot of the design characteristics of your typical Honda. Now, stepping inside the vehicle, it does have a very nice step in height. It's a little bit higher up than a Fit, so it gives you that SUV seating position that a lot of buyers are looking for. Now, shutting the door, It has a very nice, typical, solid thunk, and overall, just getting in this cabin, compared to that CX-3 I showed you guys, the feel in here is much better. This feels like a traditional crossover. It feels like an SUV. It doesn't feel like I'm sitting in a small subcompact hatch that's just slightly taller compared to the CX-3. Now, push-button start comes standard on the EX models and up. As you can see, my tester does have it. This is Honda's newer traditional key fob. So all you have to do to start the engine is put your foot on the brake and then push this button here to start the engine. Now the gauges are also another plus. They're very nice looking. They're very Acura-like in the overall ambiance. And the engine that you're hearing is the same 1.8 liter 4-cylinder iVTEC single overhead cam engine that you find in the current generation 9th gen Honda Civic. Now you can see my particular EXL also has Honda's 7-inch Honda Lynx infotainment system. This is not the newer system that I've shown you guys in the new Civic, the 16 Civic, and the new Pilot, but overall this it gets the job done. When you push the home screen there, it does give you Honda's traditional sources here. You have your nav, phone, link connect, settings. Now the system itself, it works better than the older Honda systems. It does work similarly to a tablet where you can pinch, you can zoom, you can swipe. This is not the newer Honda-based Garmin navigation system that I've shown you guys in the newer vehicles, so I imagine that Honda will be looking to replace this in the coming years. Another thing that this car lacks is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay that the newer Hondas give you. Now, one thing that this car does give you as standard is a backup camera. When you put it in reverse, it gives you a nice backup camera with distance and trajectory, but no beeping sensors. That is reserved for the higher end Hondas, of course. Now, looking at the rest of this interior, the materials are actually pretty nice, pretty unexpected considering this is the cheapest SUV in Honda's lineup. You can see the dashboard has this stitching where it is slightly padded. It has a rubberized finish. This isn't leather or anything. It just kind of is a soft vinyl material, something like that. The graining on the upper dash is hard touch plastic, but it is a very nice, expensive looking low gloss graining. The door panel materials, they are soft touch here where it's actually leather stitched on the entire upper door panel, so that's really good that Honda thought of that since your elbows are going to be resting on that. There is another padded armrest here with some more stitching. The window is automatic up down for the driver only, kind of expected in this class. The passenger window is not one touch. Looking at the rest of this center console here, the EX models and up will give you single zone manual climate control. The LX models will have a manual zone without these touch sensitive buttons. Now if you look, this car doesn't have a single knob. Everything is a touch sensitive button, which to be honest I really hate, including this volume control where you have to use this little touch sensitive pad to up the volume up and down, or you can use the steering wheel controls here. Personally, I just wish that Honda would give me a knob. There's really only 3 buttons on top here where you can actually turn the entire system off. The climate controls here are very finicky to use. It just requires you to take your eyes off the road and just touch multiple times. This vehicle does have heated seats. The EX models actually offer heated seats, so you don't have to get leather if you guys do want the heated seat option. Looking at this center tunnel here, it's a pretty nice design. I do like the floating aspect of it. There's some more additional storage down here, and if you look down here, there's also your USB and an HDMI port. It's buried all the way down there. It's not the best location. Honda's also put it over there for the new Civic. It's kind of hard to see. I often forgot that it was there, but it's a good place where you can hide the cord and then take your phone and hide it down there as well. So there's pretty good storage in typical Honda fashion here. Now, the CVT transmission comes standard on all-wheel drive models. You can get this car with a 6-speed manual. If you guys go for front-wheel drive, that's only available on LX and EX models, but nevertheless, we'll get into the test drive later on. It's traditional CVT. It does have some paddle shifters on the wheel, and it has a sport mode, but there's no actual mode here that alters the settings. Now, one thing you're going to notice, the HR-V is the first Honda to have an electronic parking brake with a brake hold function. Not even all the Acuras have this, so it's interesting that Honda has given it on their entry-level SUV. Looking at the rest of this center console here, there is a cup holder here with dual cup holders where it has this like 2-tier level area where this probably holds bottles. Flip that down and it'll hold some cups that aren't as tall. So it's very nice storage. The armrest here slides. It moves forward and back, and there's a little bit of storage underneath the center console. It's a rather small size, but overall there's lots of practicality in this car, so Honda pretty much nailed that in terms of usability. The EX models and up will give you a standard sunroof. There is no big panoramic roof option. Looking at the glove compartment, it is a pretty large size actually. It's damped, but it's not lined with felt, and overall the materials in here are pretty impressive. The steering wheel is obviously an electric power steering. It has some nice leather wrapping. It doesn't have really any bolstering extension to complement the those paddle shifters, but you do have some nice steering wheel controls here. And overall, this vehicle definitely will be easy to live with and comfortable to use as a daily driver. Looking at the rear seat of the HR-V, this is also another area where this is a very strong contender in this rather growing entry of subcompact SUVs. The rear seat area is very large in typical Honda fashion, considering it has that clever magic seat. Now the floor in this vehicle is very flat. It's basically reminiscent of that Fit platform. There's not even a center tunnel here for the middle seat. There is a nice cup holder here with a power outlet, but there's no rear seat vents, of course. This is an entry-level SUV. Now shutting the door, the materials back here are nicely padded. They're soft touch, so they carry over from the front seats. I'm happy to see that. You do get one map pocket here, and you can see the seat itself does not have an armrest right here, but it does have those Fit headrests where if you pull it all the way up, it's rather comfortable actually, and it is good for staying out of the way. And overall, the bench itself has decent thigh support. There's good foot space underneath here, so I wouldn't hesitate to sit back here on a long trip. Now, looking at the cargo area of the HR-V, this is another area where this car is very strong. You're looking at about 24 cubic feet of space, which is more than what the CX-3 offers, about 10 more than what the CX-3 offers, actually. If you guys remember that car, when I had all my camera equipment in here, it basically took up all the space, where the Honda gives you plenty of room for more stuff here. Now, one thing about the HR-V is these magic seats. When you flip this handle up and move the seat forward, and it basically just falls right down. It's just like a Fit. It gives you a very flat load floor. When you fold that down, you get about 58 cubic feet of space, which is almost twice the size of a Nissan Juke, about 15 more cubic feet of space versus the CX-3. So this is an area where Honda shows off its extreme ingenuity in packaging, and it gives you a lot of practicality and space in a vehicle that's not so large on the outside. Now, another clever trick of this magic seat is the fact that the seat not only folds down, and if you notice when the seat does fold down, I want you to see how the seat bottom actually goes lower into the floor. That's how it gives you that lower floor height when you fold the seats down. Now, one thing it does offer is the magic seat function, where you can flip this up and then fold this little metal leg down, and it'll hold the seat bottom in that position. And you can see you can basically store items up to like 4 feet tall in the back seats. You can easily put a bike back here without taking off the wheels. This front passenger seat also will fold flat, so if you guys want to store like items up to 7 feet long, you can also do that in the HR-V. Now, under the hood of the HR-V, this is probably the most disappointing aspect of this car for 2016. There's only one engine choice. This is Honda's 1.8 liter single overhead cam iVTEC 4-cylinder. It does not have direct injection. It's a pretty straightforward motor. In fact, the company's been using this engine in the Civic since 2006, so it's a pretty old engine that's probably getting ready to be retired soon. And the HR-V makes 141 horsepower and 127 pound-feet of torque, which is not a lot. This is actually 2 less than the 2015 Civic makes in a vehicle that weighs about 300 pounds more. Now, fuel economy is probably what you're caring about more with this car. It's rated up to 35 miles per gallon with front wheel drive in the CVT. This all-wheel drive model that I'm showing you is rated at 2732, about 29 combined. That's roughly 2 miles per gallon better than what you'll get in a CR-V. Now, this car is available in front or all-wheel drive. You can get it with a 6-speed manual or a CVT transmission with 7 virtual gears. It weighs about 3,100 pounds. Let's get out on the road and see how it all works together. Now, when I first heard of the HR-V, and when Honda first announced that they'd be putting the 1.8 liter engine in the Civic in it, I was rather disappointed to hear that news, but I'll keep an open mind, as I do like a lot of other aspects of the HR-V. But let's get into the driving dynamics. This is the first time I've driven Honda's new subcompact SUV, and see if it does feel and drive like a typical Honda does. Now, my initial impressions when first setting foot in the HR-V is that it definitely feels like a taller version of the Fit. Now, at least the Honda Fit, has always been a very fun to drive vehicle, so a lot of those characteristics have migrated to the HR-V, not all of them. The engine is definitely still a weakness of the car, and I'm definitely noticing that in the first just few seconds that I'm driving the HR-V. Now, this vehicle, like I said earlier, does weigh about 300 pounds more than a Civic, and it has the same 1.0 liter engine as the Civic, so it's rather lethargic in its acceleration. But if you guys are, don't buy this kind of a car to go racing. So when you're driving it normally, the CVT is one of the better CVTs on the market. It is rather responsive. As soon as you put your foot down, it automatically raises the revs and holds it there, and it doesn't have that traditional like slipping rubber band feel that some of the CVTs have that you'll drive from competitors. But overall, what you will notice is the engine's rather unpleasant and unrefined noises that it makes. It's very untypical Honda in some of the noises it makes. Now, when you don't really push the car, it does feel very light and very nimble, and I also love the seating position of this car. It feels like one of those earlier CRVs, the first generation CRVs. It does sit up higher. It has a very nice wide feel. It has a feeling of spaciousness that CX-3 didn't have, where that car kind of felt really cramped. It felt like I was in a subcompact car. This feels more like a traditional SUV. Now, the steering in this car is also a Honda electric power steering assist. It's very light. It does make it feel a little bit more numb than I'd like. It doesn't give you quite as much confidence as you expect from the Honda Fit, for example, which has a little bit heavier steering. But overall, this car definitely reminds you of a Fit a little bit, just it gives you more space. So if you guys found the Fit to be a little on the cramped side, you're definitely going to like the way this HRV feels. It almost feels nearly as roomy as the current CRV, just sitting in this seat. The width of this vehicle, the stance, the overall view out of the road, it's very nice. Now, one thing that I do notice with this car, it has that traditional Honda weakness of having a lot of noise, from the engine buzzing away to the CVT drone, to the exhaust noise, to the road noise, to a little bit of wind noise. It's a rather noisy car. So those of you who are very sensitive to those noises, you're going to find it very annoying. But if you guys are coming from a Fit, a Civic, you're probably going to find this to be right around in line what you've been used to. Now, the HRV does have a sport mode here in paddle shifters, which is rather silly for a vehicle like this, but it is nice that Honda gives you the option. The paddles actually do work well. When you pull the downshift paddle, it does blip the throttle rather quickly. It has some of that CRV like weird rubber bandy shift noise that it makes when you are actually pulling the upshift paddle, but it's good that Honda gives you the option of manual control, because it can be rather useful if you guys are needing to tow something, for example, or if you have a lot of people in the car. You will need to extract every bit of those 141 horses from this 1.8 liter engine. Now, if you guys are nice and patient, this car will get to 60 in about 9.5 to 10 seconds, which is pretty slow. This is one of the slower crossovers in the segment. It's about, I want to say, a second slower than that CX-3 that I showed you guys. So in terms of all-out driving dynamics, the Mazda wins. The Honda is definitely not as fun to drive. The CVT is something that enthusiasts like me absolutely despise, and if you guys don't like CVTs, you're not going to like it in this car. But for those of you who buy this car and aren't enthusiasts, that just need some comfortable, practicable transportation, you're really not going to notice it too much. Just know that you do have to take your time when getting up to speed with this engine. Now, going around corners in the HRV, the car does feel relatively nimble. The numb steering does deter you from going a little bit faster, but overall, in the corners, this car is surprisingly fun. The manual transmission, if you guys are looking for the most engagement, would probably be the best option for this car, as the traditional shifting and the 1.8 liter engine definitely works better with a stick. But overall, the dynamics, if you find a good curvy back road, will be quite positive with the HRV. Now, one thing that the HRV lacks compared to some of its competitors, there's no driver assistance tech in this car. There's no blind spot monitoring, no rear cross traffic alert, no lane departure warning, no collision mitigation braking, no adaptive cruise control. That is not available in the HRV. The only thing that Honda gives you is their trademark lane watch camera. When you signal right, there's a camera in the passenger side mirror that shows you what's in your blind spot. That's the only really driver assistance and the backup camera that the HRV offers. Now, there are the Canadian versions, I believe, and the Japanese versions do offer Honda's lane departure warning and all that stuff, but I imagine the company will offer it on the HRV in the coming years when they do plan to upgrade this car. Now, coming up to the conclusion of my review of this car, I have to say that it's pretty much what I expected it to be when Honda introduced this car. The overall practicality as a daily driver, this is an excellent car, and I imagine it will do well on the market for those of you who want something that's going to take you from point A to B, that gives you a lot of space inside, and that doesn't use much gas. Now, this car is rated at 2732. I've been averaging about 26 miles per gallon in mostly city driving. That's with my lead foot. On the highway, I was able to push it up above 30, around 34 miles per gallon. So those of you with a more conservative foot will be able to do better. Just know that you're going to be dipping into that throttle all the time to get this car to accelerate. Now, the price of the HRV is also another reason why you might choose it over a CRV. Compared to a CRV LX with two-wheel drive, the HRV is about $4,500 less expensive. This car starts at just over $19,000 for two-wheel drive and the 6-speed manual transmission. Now, if you guys want an automatic, it's about $800 more. If you guys want all-wheel drive, it's about $1,200 more. Now, the EX trim is about $2,000 more on top of the LX trim, and then my EXL tester is fully loaded. There's no other factory options. You buy this trim, and then if you want some Honda accessories, you can add that. But this car stickers for about $26,700, which is about the same price as that CX-3 Touring that I showed you guys about a couple weeks ago, and it's fully loaded like this. So again, the HRV is a little bit less expensive than a fully loaded CX-3 or even a Subaru XV Crosstrek. Those can get about $29,000. Well, this tops out at about $26,700. Now, there are features that the HRV doesn't have that its competitors have. Like the Juke has a turbo engine, the CX-3 has LED headlights, and some driver assistance tech, along with the Subaru. The Crosstrek also has their Subaru EyeSight system, which does make it a little bit more enjoyable if you guys are constantly stuck in some bad traffic. Now, with that said, I do think the HRV needs one thing to make it pretty much near perfect, and it needs that 1.5 liter turbo that was introduced in the all-new 2016 Civic. I imagine that engine will be coming in the HRV, just considering I'm guessing that the 1.5 turbo wasn't quite ready yet for this car when it was introduced, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Honda stuff that turbo engine in this car for the 2017 model year. But anyways, if you guys are looking for a subcompact crossover like this, and you're okay with the somewhat lack of power and the rather unrefined nature of this 1.8, in fact, one thing it does is it vibrates the pedals when you guys really push it. That's very un-Honda-like. You're definitely going to be liking this car for its spaciousness, for its Honda reliability and resale value, for its driving dynamics, for its overall feel. Just know that some crossovers are a little bit more fun to drive, they accelerate better, and they offer a little bit more in terms of premium technology and features on the car, but of course it's going to cost you. Anyways, if you guys are looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and keep subscribed to the YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next video.